The humid air hung heavy with the scent of salt and something unsettling. Palm trees swayed in the warm breeze, their shadows dancing across the weathered asphalt. It was spring break of my sophomore year, and my buddy Mark and I had escaped the dreary March chill of Boston for the sun-drenched shores of Puerto Rico. We were young, invincible, ready for adventure. What we found was something far more sinister. El Yunque National Forest beckoned us with its emerald embrace, promising hidden waterfalls and breathtaking vistas. We ventured deep into its heart, the air growing thick and heavy, the sunlight struggling to penetrate the dense canopy above. The trail we followed was narrow, overgrown, seemingly untouched by human hands. Then we saw it. Lying in the middle of the path, its lifeless eyes staring blankly up at us, was a mongoose. Its head, severed cleanly from its body, lay a few feet away. Something was terribly wrong. The following year, we found ourselves drawn to the neon lights and pulsating energy of Miami. The memory of Puerto Rico, while unsettling, had faded to a dull ache. We were older now, and wiser, or so we thought. Miami was different, a concrete jungle teeming with life, a stark contrast to the oppressive stillness of the rainforest. We let the rhythm of the city wash over us, our days spent lounging on sun-kissed beaches, and our nights lost in a haze of cheap beer and pulsing nightclubs. One night we found ourselves in a dimly lit bar on the outskirts of South Beach. The air was thick with cigarette smoke and the scent of spilled tequila. Around us, bodies swayed to the beat of reggaeton, their faces illuminated by the flashing strobe lights. We were approached by a group of girls, their laughter echoing over the music. One of them, a tall brunette with piercing blue eyes, caught my attention. Her name was Isabella, and she was intoxicating. As the night wore on and the drinks flowed freely, Isabella invited us back to her friend's place. The view was breathtaking, the city lights twinkling like a million fallen stars. But a gnawing sense of unease lingered in the back of my mind. The air was thick with the smell of salt and decay, the humid air clinging to us like a second skin. We followed Isabella and her friend through a labyrinth of dimly lit hallways, the sound of our footsteps echoing off the polished marble floors. The condo was eerily silent, the only sound the distant hum of the city below. As we stepped inside, I noticed a man standing at the end of the hallway, his face obscured by shadows. He was tall and wiry, his clothes ragged and dirty. He stared at us with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. The elevator door slid shut, mercifully cutting off his gaze. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding, my heart pounding in my chest. Isabella, oblivious to my discomfort, continued chatting animatedly about some party she was planning to throw. Her friend, however, seemed to notice my unease. He shot me a knowing smirk, his eyes cold and calculating. "Don't worry about him," he said, his voice barely a whisper. He's harmless, probably just looking for his next fix." His words did little to quell the unease that had taken root in my gut. Something about the man's eyes, the way he had stared at us with such raw hunger, filled me with a sense of dread. The events of that night in Miami, while unsettling, ultimately proved to be harmless. We made our excuses and left the condo shortly after arriving, our gut feeling overriding any sense of obligation or politeness. As we walked back to our hotel, the city streets seemed to pulse with a hidden energy, a darkness that lurked beneath its glittering facade. We had been lucky, our youthful naivete, shielding us from whatever danger had lurked in those shadowed hallways. But the experience left an indelible mark, a reminder that the world can be a dangerous place, even in the bright lights of a city like Miami. We learned valuable lessons that trip, lessons that have stayed with me long after the tan lines have faded and the souvenirs have gathered dust. We learned that trust is a precious commodity, not to be given freely, especially to strangers in unfamiliar places. We learned that our instincts are our greatest allies, their warnings meant to be heeded, not ignored, and we learned that the world is not always as it seems, that beneath the surface of paradise often lurks a darkness that can swallow you whole. The road is a harsh teacher, but its lessons are often the ones that stay with you the longest.